Welcome back. We're going to be learning how to use the rule that lets us take the derivative of a function that is actually two functions multiplied together. So the derivative of a product. So let's get her started. All right, let's take a look at what we have. And it's the product rule. And what we mean is if our situation is that we have a y equals, and then we have this here, we'll have the equivalent of a function multiplied together by another function. All right? Now, it's probably best just to see an example of how this will work. And I'm not going to, with this video, show you how the definition of the derivative can be used to get the rule. We're just going to use the rule in this video. It's another video that explains how we get to the rule. All right, so let's take a look at the next step then. When we know that this is our situation, then we take the derivative and just like the rule says, we take the derivative of the first part here, and that gives us the f prime of x there. Okay, then we take the original g of x and we multiply it by the f prime of x. Now, if you need to pause, it's not a problem. Then what the rule says is that we need to add the original, and I'll draw along this way, that goes there, okay, so that we take the f of x unchanged and we multiply it by the g of x, but it's the g prime of x there, okay? So on each side, you're going to have the derivative of something. On this, the left side here, it's the f of x times the original g of x. Then you do plus, and then you say the normal f of x that we didn't change multiplied together with the g prime of x. Now, it's getting a little bit messy there, so let me clean it up a bit. All right. So now that we have the functioning rule and in what to do, we can clean it up and just say this is how we will treat it in order to get y prime when y is this up here, f of x times g of x. Just use that, okay? So let's take another look. Let's apply what we know. Let's take this simple one right here. If y is x squared times e to the power of 2x, then we can already see, well, we're used to that being a function, and we've also seen this as a standalone function. And that's exactly what we're going to have. We're going to have our f of x be the x squared, and the g of x will be the e to the power of 2x. Okay, so let's take the next step then and see what we can do there. All righty. I've color-coded it so that you can always keep track. And then when I take the derivative, I'll just keep the derivative part white. So let's find out what happens here. All right, the y prime, according to the rule, will be, just like it says, the f prime of x. See, here's f of x. We'll do the f prime of x, and that's the 2x. Okay? So all those three rows right there, and that gives us this first part. Okay? Then we have to multiply it by the original g of x. See that there? So we have the f prime of x times the g of x. And then in the next step, we have the original f of x times the derivative of g. See how that works there? It's not that bad. And you will get an f of x and a g of x that are a bit more complicated to handle, but the principle's quite easy to use. So let's take a look at the next step. Now, here I've cleaned up a few things. You can see that an e to the 2x is common to both sides, just as there's an x times x there, and there's a single x there, and then a 2 there. So what I've done, and I'll leave this to the viewers, is I've factored this so that we could make it a more simple and easy to use situation. All right. So now I'll erase the little mess I've made here so you can look at it cleanly. Uh, if you're having a hard time with the factoring, that's an earlier course and you may need to just pause and work it out yourself. I know sometimes it can be a little confusing when you jump right back in to remember some of the old rules. But when you leave an answer, I always want you to simplify it. And in this case, that needed to be simplified because we had so many similar factors on both sides. All right, hope that helps. See you next time.